What's good? Welcome back to Seed Soil Water. I'm Brittany, and we are learning how to break the habit of being ourselves in order to create our more refined and free and divine selves. So let's jump back in. Can elevated states of mind produce healthier expression of genes? Here's an example of how we can signal new genes in new ways when we begin to emotionally embrace an event in the future before it is made manifest. And that word manifest means to make it show in the 3D so we don't have to be scared. Those of us that come from that religious background where we're so afraid of all the evil, but yet he said it's finished and he said that he saw that dude fall like lightning. So I choose to attune to the it is finishedness of it all. And this really just means to make it show. And don't get me wrong, of course, yes, there is evil out there and there is residual evil that people are perpetuating through their freaking ignorance. So yeah, I get that. And through their refusal to heal, I get that. And that's why I am here. This is my life's work because I believe that healing is possible, that creating a new beginning at any given time is possible, and that, yeah, you're going to have to go through it a little bit. Hashtag through it, unveiling the conqueror within. Go check out my audiobook that I've read on this channel. There's a playlist. But anyway, yeah, we got to show up for the work, but it's all possible to us through the creator's spirit of life that is the essence of breath flowing through us. Woo, Selah, let it be so. In Japan, a study was conducted to find out what effect one's state of mind might have on disease. So, how does your mind affect disease? The subjects were two groups of patients with type 2 diabetes, all of whom were dependent on insulin. Keep in mind that most diabetics medicate with insulin to remove sugar, which is glucose, out of the bloodstream and deposit it in the cells where it can be used for energy. At the time of this study, the people involved were being treated with insulin pills or injections to help control their elevated blood sugar levels. Each group had their fasting blood sugar level tested to establish a baseline. Next, one set of subjects watched a comedy show for an hour, while the control group watched a boring lecture. The test subjects then ate a delicious meal, after which their blood glucose levels were checked again. There was a significant discrepancy between the subjects who enjoyed the comedy show and those who viewed the uneventful lecture. On average, those who watched the lecture had their blood sugar levels rise 123 milligrams per, somebody help me out, DL, high enough that they would need to take insulin to keep themselves out of the danger zone. But the joyful group, who had laughed for about an hour, their after dinner blood sugar values rose about half that amount, slightly outside of normal range. Initially, by the way, shout out to if you have seen that Dry Bar Comedy, I think is what it's that channel. Sometimes it's annoying because they try and do politics through humor. It's like, shut up. But it's usually really funny. I don't know. I guess that's a good way to try and do it, but those two should remain separate. Let the comedy be comedy. Initially, the researchers who performed the experiment thought that the lighthearted subjects had lowered their sugar levels by contracting their abdominal and diaphragm muscles when they laughed. So they're thinking it's like through physical exercise. They reasoned that when a muscle contracts, it uses energy, and circulating energy is glucose. Okay. But the research went further. They examined the gene sequences of the jovial individuals and discovered that these diabetics had altered 23 different gene expressions just by laughing at the comedy show they'd seen. Wowza. Their elevated state of mind apparently triggered their brains to send new signals to their cells, which turned on those genetic variations that allowed their bodies to naturally begin to regulate the genes responsible for processing blood sugar. By the way, throwback to that scripture, I think it's Philippians 4 something, where it says, whatever is good, whatever is pure, whatever is noble, whatever is of excellence and good report, whatever is noteworthy, meditate, think on these things. It's like one of those things that just seemed like a religious bossy moment. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, like he wasn't saying that just to be bossy and because it's bad to think about other things. It's like, no, it freaking will impact your actual health and it will actually program your life. So no pressure. It's so annoying though. I trust me, I get it. It's annoying to be the person that's saying all this out loud because there are times where you're like, I don't want to be responsible for all that. I just want to freaking like watch my true crime, talk about murder because it's fascinating that people are that crazy. And it makes me feel like I am like doing research for safety. So I know that there are freaking bat wings out there. Bat wings? Something like that. Bat shit crazy. Our emotions can turn on some gene sequences and turn off others. This study clearly showed. And that's why it says take every thought captive, you know? Just by signaling the body with a new emotion, the laughing subjects altered their internal chemistry to change the expression of their genes. That's also just fascinating that we're just kind of this glowing ball of micro units that just like on Trolls at the end when they all go dark because Poppy was sad and then Branch starts singing to her and it's like bing, 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 you know, like that's kind of what our thoughts can do in our body. And that's why it's important and it's worth learning how to get a hold of your mind. And that's why you go to Seed Soil Water Spa when you're having a moment and you need to get a hold of your mind and you needed some new thoughts in there. You go to the spa and you tune in and you can pick any experience you want. If it's just a 2-minute pick me up, or if it's an hour long, everything's going to be all right. You know, things are working out for you. Everything is handled. Everything is handled. If you need to hear that for an hour straight, go there. Or if you want to do a visualization like the yacht experience and you're like, I'm surrounded by amazing friends and high vibes, successful, rooted, kind, actually loving, pure, honest, good kind of people. Just because people have money doesn't mean that they're living the good life. It's all those deeper roots, you know, that's the thing. Okay. But let's be honest, we'll take the money too. Bring it all on. Our emotions can turn on some genes and sequences and turn off others. This study clearly showed just by signaling the body with a new emotion, the laughing subjects altered their internal chemistry to change the expression of their genes. Sometimes a change in genetic expression can be sudden and dramatic. Have you ever heard of people after being subjected to extremely stressful conditions whose hair turned gray overnight? No, I have not heard of that, but that's wild. That's an example of genetic genes at work. They experience such a strong emotional reaction that their altered body chemistry both turned on the gene for the expression of gray hair and shut off the genetic expression for their normal hair color within a matter of hours. They signal new genes in new ways by emotionally and thus chemically altering their internal environment. As I discussed in this last chapter, when you've experienced an event numerous times, by mentally rehearsing every aspect of it in your mind, you feel what that event would feel like before it unfolds. Numerous times mentally rehearsing every aspect of an experience in your mind, you feel what it feels like before it unfolds. Then as you change the circuitry in your brain by thinking in new ways and you embrace the emotions of an event ahead of its physical manifestation, it's possible that you can change your body genetically. Can you pick a potential from the quantum field, which is every potential that already exists out there, just available, waiting, and emotionally embrace a future event before the actual experience? Yes, I can. And in fact, as you see, I light up about it because I practice this regularly and I legitimately, and I've lived through it enough and seen the fruit of it happen in different ways enough where I actually get excited because I just know and then it's this amazing way of being because it's like at any given time, there's going to be a surprise that's going to crop up and it's going to be one of my like dream seeds that I've planted and it is going to bloom when it's times and seasons. When it's time, that thing is going to pop up and and it's the most beautiful moment, by the way, when you all of a sudden look around and you're like, oh yeah, like I wrote this down, you know, or I visualized this. I didn't know who was going to be here. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but like this moment of feeling safe, surrounded by a group of friends who really love me and I really love them, and we all actually like fit together and we all actually get each other, and it's a safe place, and you know, our families are valued and loved. Like those kinds of moments when they hit, it's like, oh wow, you know, and like and then it just goes to show that the gold is possible around every corner, and you just have to start choosing it, imagining it, experiencing it within you, and then that will magnetize it to your reality. It's really wild and amazing. And it will surprise you. It will surprise you how it happens. Okay. Can you pick a potential from the quantum field? Every potential already exists, by the way, and emotionally embrace a future event before the actual experience? Can you do this so many times that you emotionally condition the body to a new mind? I've done this. I did this. I don't know if you know where I come from, but I have had several life-changing, traumatic events that were outside of my control, and that really caught me off guard, and that really created like damage. And to be here now where I am and to be flourishing in the way that I am, of course, okay, of course, like the people are gonna be like, well, that's God. Yeah, okay, duh, like the essence of the creator is how we're here. But does that mean that every person that will remain struggling for the rest of their lives, does that mean that he didn't do it for them? Or does that mean that they didn't do it for them, utilizing the spirit of his empowerment? Because ultimately it says that he is not a respecter of persons. He doesn't actually play favorites. It is literally, and what did Yeshua do? The guy that they call Jesus, Yeshua, every single time he went and healed somebody or whatever, he kept telling them, your faith has made you free. Your faith has made you well. Your faith made you see. He didn't go around and go, I am high and mighty. Did you see that? That was me. He didn't do that. Every single one. He's like, yep, your active, your faith, your choice, your foresight, your prophetic foresight and declaration over your own self and belief, even to come over here, is what made you well. And do not ever allow a religious place or person to tell you that, you know, that healing only came from them, because the spirit of the living God is far greater than any man-made belief system that ever will be, was, could be, or is now. Because the essence of the creator flow is beyond time and space. Okay. Stepping down off my soapbox, and let's keep going. So if you can you do this so many times that you emotionally condition the body to a new mind, thus signaling new genes and new ways? It literally says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Dr. Joe here is just laying out all of the scientific back freaking support for what all of these word principles in the scripture says. But there's a reason that they say it. And for me, science helps me to understand the revelation behind the statement. So be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Literally, be transformed. Literally, your body will be transformed as you renew your mind. Literally. If you can, it is highly possible that you will begin to shape and mold your brain and body into a new expression so that they physically change before the desired potential reality is made manifest. Wild. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. Let's pick up on the next one. Be blessed, be well, be free.